Hello, in this course we will learn how to compare configuration workbooks with CodeBot for SAP SuccessFactors. There are two main cases for the compare feature. You can compare workbooks from two different instances, or you can compare workbooks from the same instance generated at different points in time. First, ensure that you have your workbooks prepared. I'll make two clones of workbooks from my scheduled workbooks, add them to a common workspace, adjust the descriptions, and run the action. In this case, I have workbooks generated from two different instances in two different iterations. I'll start by making a clone of each workbook. I do this so that I can keep a clean copy of the initial workbook. Once the clones are made, I can change the description on iteration 3 to write compare 443 to T1, and on iteration 4, compare T1 to 443. I run compare twice on both iterations to get the full picture of the configuration. We'll describe this more during the analysis phase. To run the action, click the hamburger menu, then select compare. On the right-hand drop-down, select the iteration that you will compare this workbook against. In the execution notes, it's important to again write down which instance is being compared to what. This is the only place where you are able to reference what you are comparing, so it's very important to give a clear description here. Once that's set, click confirm and start. And then repeat that exact same process for the other iteration, and again, be sure to write which iteration you are comparing against in the execution notes. When the action completes, click open both workbooks. If the pending object is highlighted in green, then that object exists in both workbooks, both instances. If the other columns are in red, then those elements within the object are different. However, if the pending object itself is in red, then the rest of the columns are in white, this means that that entire object does not exist in the other workbook. And therefore, the elements within that object have nothing to compare against. So we run compare twice to get a clearer sense of what is the same and what is different in each workbook. It gives the full picture. Also, the red highlights clicking in between the workbooks gives you a sense of what is that difference, not just that there is a difference. We can do the same thing with two workbooks generated at different times for the same instance to get a sense of what has changed in an instance. I'll make two clones of workbooks from my scheduled workbooks, add them to a common workspace, adjust the descriptions, and run the action, noting the comparison details in the execution notes. Again, this part is really important. It's the only place to note what is being compared to what. When completed, I'm looking at the newer version of the workbook file, and anything in red indicates either something that's been changed or it's an addition to the instance, something that is there in the most recent workbook run, but not in the older workbook run. The opposite is true as well. If I'm looking at the older workbook file, that will indicate that something has changed, or if something's in red, it's potentially a deletion, something that was in the old workbook, but not in the new workbook. In the eye icon, we can see the details of these actions, including the basic timing. This action typically takes between 15 and 30 minutes. Thank you for watching.